Ronak looked like he stepped away.
Here we go! It's time to do this once again! It's time to dim the lights and let the feedback build! 3 clicks and sticks! And we're ready to explode! We say
This content is for informational and educational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever by Draper Gorin Blockchain, aka DGB, the presenter, or other associated parties for the content being provided. Please do your own due diligence and seek proper counsel.
Boom! Welcome to the DGB show.
It's great to be back.
It is great to be back. We haven't done a live one in a few weeks, and the reason for that is just I think we were just doing too many at a time. Wow. Okay, it looks like a bunch of folks are coming in from Twitter and from everywhere. And what I'm going to say, I know we did the. Tell Sebastian to come back in. I know we did the disclaimer on the thing, but before I jump into everything, Butterpie is in the middle of a fundraise, so we got to legally throw another little thing on here. Do I have to read it or just show everyone this? I'll do it fast. We're gonna, I think we just have to show it, and you know, if not, blame it on me since I am. I'm just the host of the show, you know, but read all the things carefully, all of that stuff. If you ever are interested, nobody is selling you here. We're not telling you to do anything. And we're not giving out the specific terms because people need to go and learn that themselves and verify they're accredited investors before they see those things and all that fun stuff.
Well, I just want to be an influencer. And I'm hoping Butterfly might be my solution to my future when I actually get some audience to watch what I do.
Well, I'm gonna jump in, and then we'll have the crew introduce themselves and stuff. But a lot of the folks who are watching and who are the regulars on our streams and everything know John Paukalis. John is a friend. Local to me and Paul out here in Southern California, and we've been having him on our different streams and different things over the years. But John is unfortunately can't make it because he's sick, but he is one of the founders of Butterpie also. But anyway, before we jump in, also the one thing is go to dgb.vc at DGB Ventures on Twitter, on X, and if you are an early stage company getting started building on chain, building in fintech, building with AI, come and contact us. We want to be helpful. Now, Paul, let's start with Paul. Introduce yourself. I feel like you may have done a live stream a long time ago, but you know, we got to reintroduce everyone and then tell us, and then, you know, we need to learn a little bit about Butterpie, but first, let's start with you.
Sure. Yeah. Hello and welcome. Or thank you for bringing me on and our team on. I love the punk rock intro. It's always a reminder that Alon is into punk rock.
We try to be youthful. We try to stay youthful, right?
I only bring it up every 37 seconds in every conversation that I'm in. But that band, by the way, Out of Trust, is from Oxnard, California. A bunch of locals, a bunch of good dudes, and everyone should check them out. Out of Trust. I love those guys. But go, Paul.
Sure. Yeah, I am going way back before the gray hair. Went to the Wharton School, focused on entrepreneurial management. Spent 9 years in film and TV as a producer and director. Producer and writer. Sold a script for $1 million and back in the heyday of all that, and was on the Sony lot and everything. And I capture societal changes and seeing this new thing called e-commerce and the internet, and people trusting putting their credit cards online for the first time, if people are old enough to remember those days. Launched an e-commerce business focused on travel-sized toiletries, single-serving food items, and other miniatures. It still exists to this day, barely 22 years later, because we were the Amazon of miniature things before Amazon was Amazon, with 2,500 SKUs, both direct to consumer and wholesale. But that led into doing manufacturing for other brands in food and supplements, beauty, personal care, etc. So I have a manufacturing facility that was launched because all the factories only had million-piece minimums, and again saw another opportunity with that, because there needed to be a scaling facility to help this new era of entrepreneurship, where it was easier and cheaper to be an entrepreneur, that was emerging, in order to scale them from small production runs to large. So it's sort of a unique facility in the country that can do that across multiple different product types. That led into, since we were doing fulfillment for both direct to consumer and wholesale for ourselves, doing that for those brands, and then that attracted in other brands to also do fulfillment for. So I have a fulfillment business also. That one also captured a societal shift, where it used to be pallets coming in and pallets going out to retailers, and all of a sudden we could now, there was now this pick and pack that was needed, and that was a new experience for these warehouses to be able to figure out how to do. So sort of an early entrant into that pick and pack operation, and doing customer service on behalf of the brands and all that. And then got into food service distribution when the big food companies came to us with some issues happening in their industry they needed some help on, and opened another warehouse in Ohio. And so between Southern California and Ohio, we could blanket the country working with FedEx. And then have a TikTok marketing agency with some folks that were brought over by TikTok from China. Work directly with a lot of the TikTok leadership there on that, and are quadruple certified to represent brands, talent, affiliate marketing, and the entertainment side. And then was having a lot of celebrities and creators and rock stars and sports stars all coming in for these various services. And after sitting with them and giving them ideas about marketing and or other clients I could connect them to that I had, and they were asking me to be an advisor, and I kept saying no, I don't have time. But then I saw there was a phenomenon happening, and back in the day it used to be rock stars wanting to be actors and actors wanting to be rock stars, and now all of a sudden everybody wanted to be an entrepreneur, but they don't have the time or the expertise necessarily for that, so they need an operational business partner. And so that was where I was like, ooh, this is a great opportunity to leverage this whole infrastructure that I have of multiple buildings and companies and all that, to be able to do all these different things. And so I started working on launching a company to do that, and having known, as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, John Palkulis for several years. He's the former head of marketing at Paramount Studios and a real sort of innovative marketing thinker, and had just exited a tech company that I know, Alon, you worked with him on. Yeah. And he saw that a societal shift as well was happening, where you have consumers, if anybody has kids, the kids now, it's not Saturday morning cartoon commercials that they're learning about products from. They're learning from YouTubers and TikTokers and creators out there that are connected to product. And so seeing the shift to where the eyeballs are, John was like, consumer products are about to completely change from a marketing perspective and where consumers learn about it. And he knew that I was literally working on about to do the same thing. So all right, let's join forces on this. And John had a great idea to really form this as a venture studio model. And that
I wonder where you got that idea from.
From you. He does credit you.
I invented Venture Studios. I'm the first person. But by the way, I don't want to interrupt, but just I think you say it and people understand it, right? Like, oh yeah. Paul does fulfillment. That's a thing. But until you go there or see it and understand, I know you have some videos, but like seeing like a warehouse the size of like a football field full of things and people and activity and things going on, and you have everything from, you know, clothing and vitamins. And it was maybe not vitamins. I remember like those, when you were doing the Minute Mist, like I think maybe it was vitamins, whatever. You have everything from, there's Sebastian, we got him back. Clothing, socks, spices, you know, going from a 55-gallon drum full of like, you know, paprika into bags and bottles and being shipped. It's a huge undertaking operation. You realize, like, if I was a you know, YouTuber influencer who wanted to have my own set of spices, which I'm not an influencer, but I do want my own spice brand, which I'm going to talk to you about, Paul. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a mix of the Southern California, you know, like Mexican food style that we grew up with, and my parents' crazy Mediterranean stuff. I already got a name for it. We're doing it. It's happening. Rankin knows the things I mention on the live streams the most are punk rock and hummus.
Yeah,
you know, it's just
isn't hummus punk rock?
I think so. I think it's there's been wars fought over it, but it could also create world peace if we do it right. And so, you know, I don't know, I'm pretty much, but going back to it, like you can't. No pun intended. You can't minimize how huge the fulfillment part of doing things is, and I know that there's things that exist on the internet, like, you know, I don't know, custom ink and things we've all used to like make some t-shirts and things like that, but the quality is not the same, the scale is not the same, the economics are not the same, and if you don't have an expert that actually understands it,
the big difference, I think so that you actually touched on one of the big differences and aspects in terms of what we're doing that I think, so this phenomenon, as happens with any new phenomenons, people try different angles and approaches, and a lot of what celebrities and these creators are doing is they want to dive right in and have a brand, and they oftentimes end up white labeling something that, you know, is sort of generic, and then all that happens is they're really just feeding their fans. Which is nice, and you know, you can make $1 million or a couple $1 million, you know, or more if you're a big, you know, giant, you know, celebrity, but it's not a sustainable or scalable business. You sell to your fans, and that's about it. So what Butterpie is doing is we, you know, work with food scientists, chemists, materials scientists, inventors. We have a great we have an agreement already with one of the big R&D studios that has patents on really cool things in the apparel and beauty space. And so being able to bring innovation to the creator, to the celebrity in the category they're passionate about. So now they're leveraging their fans towards an innovative product, not white labeling and selling down to their fans. That allows it to become, you know, have a shot at becoming 20, 50, you know, $100 million type of business. Disclaimer, that is not typical of all, you know.
we gave the big disclaimers. Yeah, we gave the big disclaimers at the beginning, and I promised John before we end, so I don't forget, we throw this disclaimer on again before we end. But I mean, now it's been on twice, and we have the generic DGB one at the beginning too. But just to play it safe.
Yeah.
Now, I want to dive in. I want to dive in a lot more. Yeah, I want to dive in a lot more, but I think we should do a quick intro of the rest of the crew so people can hear, you know, what their part of the equation is too, and then let's dive in more, because I do want to hear a lot more about it. We'll just go in order. Ronak, you give us a quick 30 seconds of your background?
Sure. I think you put a good guardrail for 30 seconds, so makes sense. No, well, so I'm basically, you know, focusing on the AI and the data infrastructure and the Butterpie GPT primarily, which is like, I think is going to be an awesome experience for the folks that are on the brand, where it's kind of digital mate, if you will, that helps you to further enhance your experience and how to optimize your creatives and what all magic you can do. I think it would be awesome. I'm looking forward to it coming out soon. And I think I'm sure, Alan, we'll declare that date once we are ready. But
Heck yeah. We're gonna do this again, and we'll share it and everything. We're gonna dive more into that in a second, because like I was saying, oh man, we lost Sebastian we were about to. We lost him again right before I was about to go to him. It's all right. We'll hit him in a second. He'll find his way back. He must have a connection issue. This has happened in the past. I remember Rankin. There was a few times where you had one of those days. It's just sometimes with live streams, it's kind of like virtual meetings where the quality is great 99% of the time, but then there's either one important meeting or one meeting that you hop into. It could be the seventh virtual meeting of the day, and all of a sudden, like Google Hangouts or Zoom just decides not to work, right? Like it's just the way it is.
Or your Wi-Fi goes out for some reason also.
Yeah. I thought for a split second, I thought you were going to blame your wife. And I was like,
no, it's Wi-Fi, not wife.
Come on, dude.
Nobody said bold, Alan, to blame the wife.
We're not going to go down this rabbit hole. It is usually your fault.
By the way, you skipped. So just to point out, Ronak's worked with some of the biggest brands. He and Vishal have, and Vishal may talk about this, very large, IT company doing development on software, custom software with I think over 500 developers. Ronak, I forget what number was, like it's employee number 10 at Facebook or something, or Meta. So he's a guru of the developer community. But that's a great intro, I think, for Vishal too.
Yeah, thank you for.
Yeah, I don't look that young, but yeah, when the Netflix released the first red envelope DVD. Plus, when Facebook released the first, launch, I think I was lucky to be over there.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Vishal, give us your background.
Well, I think after Paul's pitch, I feel a little bit, down in terms of, how diverse I can be in terms of my experience and, entrepreneurship. But I think being an entrepreneur for 25 years in tech, lived my life in product engineering in different parts of the world, and have global teams like Paul mentioned. We have today a lot of focus on what we can do with AI, what we can leverage data, and what we have seen in the past, the transformations around digital. I think we have seen all the, series or sequences of how transformation has happened in the age of technology, underlying that piece. And I think we are also very much vertical focused. So while Paul brought the physical side of what he can enable brands and retailers with, I think what we bring on the table is the digital side of how we enable the retailers to kind of be global, explore the broader markets, leveraging technologies and using AI as a force multiplier, so to speak. So that's kind of what we are trying to bring on table together, and looking forward for more connections, conversations, and making sure that the brands who are struggling in terms of what they know for their product versus what they can work with venture studio like Butterpie to kind of get all in one place and scale. I think scale is the underlying word for everything that we do, whether it is logistics, technology, or amplifying the brand itself.
So I was actually thinking about this a lot lately, like with all the AI stuff, and the people watching know, but I'll reiterate for you guys. Rankin and I actually we pitched this. I pitched this to you guys, to Paul and John at one point too. I think we a year ago, 2 years ago, we were experimenting with AI and building with it ahead of the curve because we're obviously all technical and we love this stuff. And we were joking about doing a live stream like this once a week, and it would last 1 hour and have really, really strict rules that in that hour we would launch a business live. And the idea, the joke was we we're going to name the podcast the 1 hour work week. And AI could be doing things in between, but we weren't allowed to touch it in between. And so we were going to have to build complete customer support, complete everything for the AI because, somebody wants to contact you. Like we were going to have these rules and see if we could build a business that way. What's crazy now is everyone can very easily build simple businesses using AI and the tools available to us in less than that 1 hour of time. Obviously, if you want to run a serious business, you're working around the clock, you're doing what you're doing. But there's been lots and lots and lots of examples of people building products as a one-man team or as a small team or with many less resources than they used to need. But the big but is now the power moves a little bit away from those big companies like the Salesforces of the world and things like that, because you don't need their software, you don't need their infrastructure to build the product. But now the scale and the distribution is so much more important. And so when you're talking about creating a new product, a new business, yes, an internet company could launch overnight from your bedroom. But if you have physical products tied to that company, if you are in an industry that needs more than, think about musicians make most of their money from selling merch and going on tour. They don't make their money from going in the studio and making the songs anymore. That's a part of the whole mix and they have to do it, but they're not making money from Spotify streams. They have to go and do things. And for them to sell things, they have to then be able to deal with manufacturers, being able to deal with distribution. And companies nowadays can't just do the manufacturing side of things because they have to be able to actually market them and distribute them. And what's the most successful car company in the world right now in terms of sales? It's Tesla. They don't spend money on advertising. The traditional world is over. So I've talked too much. But Paul,
well, I can riff off of what you were just talking about in terms of
what
Vishal and Ronak are doing. Vishal, and they're a general partner in Butterpie, and the AI tools are both internal because we have a portfolio of SPVs, one per creator, per celebrity, for each one of the different consumer products brands.
So for everyone that's listening, an SPV stands for special purpose vehicle, but it's basically its own company. So you go if David Rankin is a creator, an influencer, a person who has a big network and wants to start selling pots and pans, that pot and pan new company is what he's talking about. Okay, keep going.
So Butterpie would come in and finance that, co-own it alongside him as joint owners of that LLC, let's say, and we would have an internal AI tool. That's what Vishal and Ronak are developing, because now when you have a portfolio, you have a lot of data, audiences that you want to cross market to, and various other internal analyses that you want to do for your marketing and where you're going to go and all that. And I'll also throw in another random element. We're launching in partnership with somebody big in the media space, doing a media studio too. So not only you do have creators generating content for the brand that they're a partner in, they're mostly busy on their own personal brand. So now we can supplement that with content that can be built alongside them with the whole team on the media side to really help go beyond their audience, as I mentioned earlier. But the other fun part of what we're doing is this Butterpie GPT that is customer facing and public facing, and that's where creators, especially like up and coming creators, their dream is to be a big creator and to have a team just like those big creators do. They're not just doing all this thing and having 100 million followers on their own or with a couple of buddies. They have a massive team of 100, if not hundreds, of employees behind them, writing, producing, editing, analyzing. And so what we're doing with this Butterpie GPT is giving in an app, giving that up and coming creator their team. So you basically have these AI agents. You've got your person who works on collaborations, your person who works on your monetization, your person who works on your video and analyzing, your person who helps with scheduling, your person who helps with mental health with certain guidelines. But so there's your whole whole team of all the people that you'd sit around a boardroom and be talking to that would be working on their own to do things for you, but also that you can interact with and help, build your day as a creator and do all the things you need to do as a creator. So it's a great tool to give somebody who's not going to be paying millions of dollars, in salaries to do that, in their early days with that team and really help them build to their future self as a creator. So that's what the guys are doing.
Paul, I would just add to say maybe we want to, and we should ask John about this because he has better ideas, but maybe we want to position as an Uber for retailers or brands, if that is how we want to say, because they want to reach from scale A to scale B or point A to point B in their business journey, and how exactly the four leg of stool what Butterpie Venture Studio provides in terms of the 3PL, the technology and AI, the creator tools and so on and so forth, and maybe any other strategic support that or capital support that the creator or brand needs. Ideally, that is kind of how we would sum it up as being the Uber for brands and the four legs of the stool that we offer to retailers or brands.
And some of the elements you're touching on is it becomes like our farm team, for up and coming people that hit it big. They're now in our ecosystem to now already, start to work with in sort of the bespoke consumer product brand, world, even though, we're working with some of the biggest, agencies that represent talent, biggest management companies already for, to bring in their top talent that we're working with. But that's not to say there's always breakthrough people. This is a great way to already have built a relationship with them. And for our big, sort of A-listers that we're working with to be able to have a internal affiliate marketing team of up and coming, creators that could sign on and have special relationships, or we're sort of all in the family to do, co-branded content together, to be able to really connect together. So it becomes a great, there's a lot of secondary, aspects to how these, the AI and the consumer products, come together.
I think we're moving into this world, right? Like, I've kind of said it before, but one way to look at it is like you're empowering lots and lots and lots of people to create small businesses, which is really important because, I said to somebody yesterday, I worked at MySpace in customer support. They had hundreds and hundreds of employees in this huge room by the airport that was like the size of a football field with these tiny cubicles, had 3 people to a cubicle because they ran 24-hour shifts. Every 8 hours, a person changed to do customer support for the most trafficked website on the internet. They needed all these people to work for them. I could, with my technical ability, replace all of those people in a couple of hours with AI now.
Yeah. So
if I'm out there wanting to be an aspiring influencer or just working on the internet and doing what I do, I'm empowered to start a business, or I'm scared shitless to be sitting in my cubicle, right? So you have Ryan, we're just doing a Butterpie today, but we'll do a group friend hang, family hang soon. We definitely got to. You guys might know Ryan. He's local. Zuda. The people watching know him as Zuda. We have him on. We talk about AI also and his AI stuff, which is really cool. But where I'm getting at is that all these influencers also need some stepping stones. So what you're talking about makes a lot of sense, because coming out the gate, they might not be big enough to have their own brands and have their own lines of things, but they could help promote others, and you're creating revenue streams for them, and you're building kind of like our we just got off of a team call that we call our water cooler family hang for all of the DGB portfolio companies. And we get the teams together of the different companies because they could add a ton of value to each other. And you have this kind of like, you have this camaraderie of being a part of this team. And so I love what you're doing there. And I do want to quickly, I know we only have a few minutes left. I think, Paul, you might be able to stay a couple minutes longer with me, and we can finish up if a couple of guys have to drop. But what I was going to say is that I want to give a moment to talk about John, even though he's not on here, because I love the dude. We used to meet for breakfast like every other week. Now it's every few months, unfortunately. But he's my guy, and he's, Vishal mentioned, he has better ideas and this and that. He's got a lot of incredible experience that would blow the minds of a lot of you guys. So if you remember some of the watchers, he's the guy who we talked about when he worked at Paramount. He was the head of marketing. The word digital couldn't have been in there yet, but he was the head of digital marketing there at some point too. But when they put the first URL in a movie trailer, and he tells the story of, it was Mission Impossible and he had to get buy-in from like Tom Cruise or something. There's a whole story there. We'll have him tell maybe next week or another day when he's feeling better. But he has this experience of this distribution experience in a digital world, transforming the traditional to the modern digital. And I think that's what's happening again. Traditional in our world is very different than traditional of 20 years ago. It is all digital. We do buy everything off of Amazon. We do go online and and buy most of our stuff there. But AI is now taking it to a whole different level. Actually, we have a slide here, and I'm going to show this just because it's a great slide that I used to have in one of my investor decks for DGB when we were doing a venture studio. And I used to show it, and I don't show it that often anymore because instead of saying what I am, I'm saying what we're not. And that's not a good way to present, but I think it's really, really relevant here. I always share this because I think it's great. No one starts an internet company anymore, right? And these are all the biggest companies in the world's logos are in there, as no one starts an internet company anymore. And what I say out loud is every company is an internet company now, right? If you would have said that the hot dog stand at the Westlake Promenade, you can go on an app, and it's not that person's app, but it's an app, and you can order a hot dog from that stand right now, this second, to anybody 10 years ago, their minds would have been so blown. And not just that their minds were blown, they'd go, oh, that's a high-tech internet startup, right? Like most of the world, they would call it a high-tech startup. In the United States, call it like an internet startup or a .com startup, right? There doesn't exist a small business that doesn't have a website anymore, that doesn't have Yelp reviews, that doesn't have a way to order on Grubhub or one of the bazillion apps that exist. And I think we're going to, right now, everybody's talking about, ooh, this is an AI startup, and this is, Butterpie GPT, and this is AI, and this is AI, and this is AI. Cut to a year or 2 or 3 from now, companies won't exist unless they exist through these kind of user interfaces and these kind of challenges. And
Alon, I would say you talked about it earlier, like really the blending of physical product and technology, and that is where we're at the early stages of that, and that's what we're doing. That's sort of what you saw in the introductions. And I'll throw quickly in for Sebastian, who had to drop off, and I know Vishal and Ronak had to go. But Sebastian is in the sales side. He's one of our other general partners, and he is also a thought leader in that space with over 1 million followers as a creator himself in the sales world. But he runs a big sales company, and which is partnered in with the largest sales rep firm in the country with over 5,000 sales reps. So as we have these big, A-list celebrity and creator consumer products brands that are ready to go into retail after, getting heat on them with direct to consumer, that's the team member who now is on that side to bring them into the, the Amazons and Targets and Walmarts and Sephora or, whatever. It may be. So it's sort of really is a great team we have to really sort of vertically integrate all of the pieces to be able to do this. And I have to do the shameless plug since we had it before. Butterpie.netcapital.com.
Here it's in the thingy. Hold on, it's in the disclaimer. It shows it. This is the here. I'm gonna move Paul. Actually, let's try to do this view. That's pretty cool, actually. Yes, in here it's butterpie.netcapital.com. It's right in the middle. Butterpie.netcapital.com. Where can you go to the Butterpie website also? I'm assuming you can link from the website to there.
There's in fact, that's you know, since we're talking about the sort of investor raise launch sort of side of this, we just launched a week ago for our capital raise with our broker dealer, and that's the broker dealer's portal. So that's where you can read the private placement memorandum, the slide deck about the company, and all the other materials that relate to a capital raise. There's butterpie.com, butterpie.org gives some more information about it. Butterpiegpt.com for that software piece that we're talking about. So that's what
I know.
I had to throw that in there.
That's literally what I was going to go ask, is where can everyone find it and all that stuff. So, and we did the job of showing the disclaimer a few times, no promises made and all that fun stuff, and go to those places to learn. Rankin, it looks like you're about to say something. Ask away.
Well, no, I was just thinking about it because it's such a real thing, right? I went into I think it was Dollar Tree of all places, right? And my son brings up and goes, "Can I get this candy bar?" And the first thing he holds up is a Mr. Beast chocolate bar. He's like, "I know this guy. I knew who this guy is." I'm like, "I want to get this chocolate bar," right? So I mean, like, you're absolutely right. So this is where things are going.
So David, I'll give you a quick example on that. It's when I tell people, Mr. Beast is one of the most followed people. I think he has the largest audience on YouTube. But it's a perfect example about a monumental shift that is happening in marketing. When he launched that Feastables chocolate brand, he had done one of his videos, one of his bits, where he took his warehouse and turned it into a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory set with like chocolate rivers and giant Mentos into giant bottles of soda, and all these fun things with, I don't know, 100 million views. There was probably as many views watching that video as the Super Bowl. And, the chocolate eating competition, it was a giant commercial for Feastables underneath it all. But it was embedded within an actual piece of entertainment. It wasn't holding a product like on Instagram and saying, buy this, I endorse it, I'm a paid endorser. It was genuinely built in to be a part of, natural part of that entertainment. And now, and this is a story I tell and you just played out the example, a kid will go in, see a Feastables bar and say, "I'm a fan of this person and I want to support him by buying that chocolate bar because they saw that chocolate bar, in that video." That level of marketing connection to the consumer to get them to want to buy it, to almost like Patreon support, the creator they're watching, is unheard of. And we're the creators who understand how to embed the product within the content itself is massive, and he was one of the first people I saw really do that at scale effectively, and I think there's going to be a lot more coming, and that's where we're playing in that space.
And the thing is, these influencers, right? When you're watching an influencer day after day, they're building that trust with you, so you start to trust their opinion. So when they market a product to you, like, you're more apt to go and use it because they're not going to. As far as I know, you would hope that most influencers wouldn't market a product that they're not using themselves or they don't believe in, because that would ruin their audience. It would kill their audience the moment they did that.
Some do it, but they've started to understand that the audience has gotten more sophisticated to spot that, and so you can't get away with just hawking some sponsor's product as much as you could 5 years ago, and now they're looking at genuinely emotionally connecting to it, and they realize this idea of legacy income for themselves to actually build a brand that goes beyond their 15 minutes of fame or whatever, 15
absolutely
months of it, whatever it is, so that way they have something that lives beyond their brand sponsorship deals, which is great for them for sort of a regular revenue stream. But that long-term revenue stream, when they get tired of doing what they're doing, or that they want to leave to their family, or just build something that is bigger than who they are in that moment, that's when they look at, how do I build a consumer products brand that can do this, where I can leverage my fans into something that is clever and not just
not just again an iron on a t-shirt, right? Like it has to be merch, higher quality. Merch is a big thing, even just that. But merch nowadays, it has to be high quality, and it has to be really, really good, because people aren't just, like you said, they're getting sophisticated. Like, they want to support the people they want to support, but not when the quality is bad. And I always tell the story about crowdfunding. I used to run a crowdfunding platform, and we did a couple charity campaigns literally within days of each other. One of them was for Eva Longoria. She was raising money for, like, I don't remember what it was, like a cancer hospital or something. And the other one was for Avril Lavigne, doing something similar. Both were really, really amazing, great causes. Both had a great fan base, but Avril Lavigne had maybe in the hundreds of thousands of fans at the time, and Eva Longoria had in the millions of fans at the time, like on the same platforms, right? She had, maybe 10x. And two things that I want to mention is the product, and also the dilution of doing something. Eva Longoria used to promote tons and tons of these nonprofits and groups that people should be contributing to, and Avril Lavigne had never done it. Now, the second Eva Longoria launched her campaign, crickets. Very, very few. Hundreds of dollars came from her millions of followers to the nonprofit. Avril Lavigne, the second she launched her campaign, $10,000, boom, came in, and then it slowed down dramatically. And the reason it slowed down is because Avril Lavigne said, for the first 1,000 people who give $10, I'm going to send them in the mail, my cost, she's paying for it, signed headshots of me. Mm-hmm. Or maybe guitar picks or something, whatever it was. I think it was signed headshots. And instantly those people went to get it. Why? Because they wanted to support the nonprofit. They thought it was a great cause, but people inherently wanted to support her, get that signed headshot. It was the only way on the internet to buy her signed headshot, get her signature on a thing. And so we talked to her team and this and that, and we had them add some more things to the mix so that she could raise more money for the charity. Went to Eva Longoria's team, and she went, I don't do that kind of thing. And it was probably because we were dealing with some publicist or something. And that's where it is. Yeah. So people want the high quality. They want the support. They want a little bit of selfishness to get something from the person. And I think as adults, we only really fully understand it in like two categories. Like, and I mean, don't mean as adults, but as older people, I think younger people, they've like grown up with this more, right? Like our kids really have grown up with this more. Like the Mr. Beast thing wouldn't really drive us. But there's two categories. I think music, like almost every person has some obsession with some band or genre of music that they really feel tight to, and they would support the people and if they created a product or did something. And the other one is now with podcasts, but radio people. Because if you are old enough to have like sat and commuted and listened to the same radio show every day, people have it with Stern. Some people have it here in Southern California with, you might have it with Rush Limbaugh. People in LA and around the country would have it with like the Adam Carolla stuff. Like he was doing it with the K-Rock and all that. Like they would have Jimmy Kimmel on back in the day and all these people. People were obsessed with it. And you felt, because you hung out with these people every single day for a couple hours a day in your commutes, you felt like you actually knew the people. Like you felt like they were your friends. And so you trusted when they would, promote some product or do something. But the audience now can,
and the audience can now tell when they have a passion. Your example you gave of the two celebrities and their charities, I bet one's passion for it came through more, especially because what they were willing to do to connect to the fans in relation to their charity. And that's the folks that we're working with, are the celebrities and the creators who want to be entrepreneurs and have a passion for doing it. And it's not just sort of a cash grab. They actually love the idea of being an entrepreneur and doing this. And having a team that they can work with and build something. And that's what's exciting to me, is that era is happening and there's this opportunity to help them do that. And from a business mindset, obviously we're at the beginning of a big societal shift that we can tap into with where the eyeballs are, where do people learn about product, and these creators who want to tap into that too. So
and where I was going to go to, and I was taking too long to get there, is that there's a lot of silos now, and it's not, the number of celebrities has increased dramatically, and maybe each one has a smaller audience, but they're a more dedicated audience now because we have so many options. We're only paying attention to and focusing on those ones that we really, really love. Because now every podcast is on demand. I'm not stuck to, well, whoever's on the radio at 7 a.m. on my commute is who I'm listening to, that I have 3 choices. You know, you have lots of choices. So I think that there might be less fans per influencer celebrity, but they're significantly more dedicated. And you can create really, really amazing opportunities for each and every one of them.
We're getting to an area where being a targeted market, having a niche and doing videos on something specific is huge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, picking a thing, whether it's skateboarding, whether it's hiking and finding the best trails, you have very niche videos out there because in order to be seen, you're going to have to pick some type of niche. And those niches have very specific products that can now be marketed or that they can market to that select crowd. And so now if you're going towards that niche, you're going to have exposure to just those.
Pause there.
No, we see you. So I think that's
audio.
You know, oh, we lost the audio. Come back.
Well, we're still going.
We hear you fine.
So
yeah.
If Paul, can you hear us? I'm gonna tell him to refresh. Refresh yourself. Trying to signal it. No, you're totally right, and I think that that's the beauty of the whole thing. We'll let Paul get back in, hopefully, and then if he can hear us.
Well, since it's just you and I, while he figures out his audio, okay. You know, if we get me the 1 million followers, I will try to work on making those pots and pans.
Well, I think the thing is, you know, yeah, no, you're gonna be selling something else because of your audience and your crew, right? But that's the beauty, is they're not helping necessarily get fans. They're fanning the flames the same way that Paul. Before I bring you, oh, there you go. I was gonna say turn over.
There we go. Sorry,
you're upside down. It's all good. So you know, I was joking with Rankin because he said, "Help me get 1 million fans," and I think you just have to do what you do. And I think that Butterpie will be able to do kind of what we do for startups, for those influencer startups. They're not going to get you 1 million fans. They're going to throw gasoline on the fire. So if you're doing the work, they can amplify the shit out of it. If you're not doing the work, you're not going to become the next person, because I mean, you know, to be fair to everyone and to be blunt, right? Just because someone looks like they could be an influencer or talks like an influencer and wants to be an influencer doesn't mean they're influencing anything. You have to actually do the work, start getting the love yourself, and then they can bring the whole team in that could amplify it and help it grow more, help you sell more, help you distribute, and do all the things that you need to do.
We're the engine and they're the fuel. We actually have that in our
okay. So maybe then so you know they're bringing the engine and you're now you know, it's the opposite of my my analogy, but you know what I'm saying. And I think that's what the best venture studios in the world do, right? So Paul, oh man, we're gonna lose him again. He might be getting a phone call. Well, we want to wrap it up right now anyway. Paul, you can now hear us again. You there? All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. I'll throw the thing on again, just the disclaimer, because they are doing their crowd raise right now. But the main thing is go to butterpie.com. If you're an investor, you can go to butterpie.netcapital.com. But you know, like we said, no promises made on this and all that fun stuff and all the disclaimers.
Come talk to us at DGB.
If you are an entrepreneur starting a business, the same way you should be contacting Butterpie. If you are an influencer and want to launch a brand, you go to Butterpie. If you're a startup, a tech startup, and you're just getting started, go to dgb.vc and pitch there. Paul, we just gave all the plugs and told everyone to go to butterpie.com, and I put it in butterpie.netcapital.com up on the screen for any investors who might be paying attention. Paul, any last words before we go? I know we went long, and we're going to definitely have Sebastian and John back, and hopefully you join too.
Who's the ideal customer that should be reaching out to Butterpie right now?
The ideal customer is an investor, since we're focused on our capital raise right now.
Okay.
So that would be the ideal customer.
Other than those, what about the influencers and whatnot? Should they be reaching out to you?
Yeah, we're working with a lot of the agents and managers, a lot of folks, but obviously, work directly with a lot of folks we have personal relationships with that are, larger influencers, or as you guys pointed out, even some of the ones that may not have, 10, 20, 50 million followers. You can have, 3 million, 5 million followers, but if they're there for a very specific purpose to learn from you, that's a much more engaged audience than someone who's a train wreck or whatever, so that's one of the things we also look at is, why are you an influencer? Why are you a creator? Like, why are you a celebrity? What is your audience? What is their connection to you? And then what is the right product that fits with why they're watching you, and getting that equation to work. And that's where, again, having the Butterpie GPT AI tools can support not only our own analysis on that, but bring in some deeper analysis to exactly how to put those pieces together for folks.
And then you're handling all the fulfillment and distribution of the dry good product that they're tied to, or?
Yeah, it's soup to nuts. So literally, like, they're doing some of the promotion piece to their fan base. They're helping with their creativity on look and feel, smell, taste, whatever it is about the product. But we're really doing the operational piece, which is, bringing them the innovation within that category. They're passionate about package design and manufacturing and supply chain and secondary packaging, the fulfillment of it, and even the marketing and a lot of the media creation with the media house, that we have. So it's really that soup to nuts, infrastructure, that physical infrastructure where we have buildings and staff
not
and
just physical.
It's really nice when someone picks up the heavy
legal
lift.
Infrastructure, all the pieces of the puzzle that it's not easy. You can't just like spin up a brand and be like, we got a brand, handshake it, right? There has to be all these legal docs, all this stuff, everything.
Half the reason a lot of the celebrity and creator brands fail is because to put all those pieces together and get them to work in sync cohesively, very difficult to do. And can take years and millions that you either overspend to do it, or there's a lot of things that happen when you try and put lots of moving parts together to build a company and build a brand. We have all that we can plug right in, so that makes it easier, faster, cheaper, less chance of failure to be able to partner up and do that.
Very cool.
So yeah,
amazing. I think that's a great place to end. But we're gonna do another hang session with you, Paul, awesome. And we'll bring in Sebastian. We'll bring in John. Hopefully, he feels better soon. And we'll keep this conversation going. It was great to hang with you. We're long overdue. I'm excited. Good luck on the raise. And we'll definitely be hanging out and be in touch. Everyone, go to butterpie.com and then go everywhere else. All right. Talk to you guys soon.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, David.
Later, guys.
See ya.